It's great to have your company today. It's one of those weeks, really, where I am really thrilled to have our trading team with me because, in all honesty, it is interesting. I think it's a week where we've seen these US dollar moves that we thought were going to break us out of these ranges. And instead of breaking us out of these ranges, they've just retraced straight back in. And probably due to make a decision, gold also just hesitated today. And also perhaps due to make a decision for us not far away. I guess big move down, consolidation in here. I'll come out to the Euro daily, the dollar move, and bit sideways, big dollar move back into it, and lots of them doing the same kind of stuff. And I am pleased I've got a team to come in and talk about what's going to go on today, because with the exception of oil, which just kept marching on, is approaching some pretty serious resistance at 74.60 odd for mine. I would expect to see a bit of hesitation there. I have turned the little trading robot down on that on the risk side while we get through that area there. But really, it's a market that just cries out to me indecision. Even the Bitcoin, which continues to hang around inside this range between 42,000 and 30,000, where I think it's going to be for a little while. Put in the big selling day on options expiries on Friday, but even that turned out with a 4-hour bar that was a little bit bullish to close it up, and wouldn't just give us a nice bearish candle to finish on. And really, I've got to say, I'm pleased to have some people that can turn up and make some sense of this to me, because quite honestly, Julian, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Thank you, Paul. Hi folks, hello everybody, and welcome to another session. Hey, look, I'm not going to steal Ash's thunder. Ash came up with a really good explanation, I think, of what's going on. I think I have a bit of time for this, so I'll let him talk about it a little bit more. But the broad thrust of where he was going was that if this is a US dollar rally and a currency sell-off, then maybe a really good way of expressing it is via some of the commodities, and sort of by definition in that case then via some of those commodity or COMDOL currencies. So when you're looking at the market at the moment, it may be that you're better off looking at dollar CAD and the Aussie for some of your moves than you may be to look at the euro, because it's a little bit more complicated with that. Having said that, right, here's the thing, right? So we had the Fed meeting, we had the big sell-off, and what have we done this week? You count 5 days back. Thank you, Paul, for leaving that up there. You count 5 days back on this chart, and what I'm seeing there is a retest, thank you, Paul, of the low of the box, and a very gradual, if you like, rethink about maybe what the Fed said. However, what we haven't done is we haven't rallied back in this case, because we're looking at the Aussie here, back to the 77.80 level to the top of the box. We haven't completely rejected the downside just yet in these currencies. So why is that? Well, because the talk was of a raising interest rates, of the US economy doing better than anybody else, yada, 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 dot plots, etc. You guys know this, right? You've all read the piece about the Fed. So when I look at this and I'm seeing this, what I'm seeing here is a bounce, but I'm not seeing a convincing bounce. Friday sort of convinced me, if that's possible, I'll use a double convincing, of the fact that the bounce hasn't been very strong. Could you put up gold for me, Paul, if that would be possible? Here's a very classic case, right, of what we're talking about. So if you look at the way gold has traded this week, what's it done? Absolutely nothing. For those of you that are interested in that technical picture, I'm sure Ainslie will talk about this. You're looking at a technical pattern here called, well, I call it a consolidation, a sideways consolidation, but what I definitely do not call it is a bounce, right? There is no bounce in that. What there is like a half-hearted dead cat thing that isn't going anywhere, right? In fact, it's probably not even a dead cat. I call it like a Wellington boot type of bounce. And so really for me, in the world of sell the weakest, if this US dollar rally is going to continue, then it wouldn't be a reach to say at this point that you'd be looking to short some gold before you sold maybe the Australian dollar or the Canadian. However, right, with our world of correlation of one, what got us here in the first place is the fact that everybody had the wrong positions on. Very clearly, there's a lot of people trapped above $1,800 in the gold market who simply can't get out of those positions. So then my point is, where are they going to sell? Right? How much lower does this go before they finally give up? I wonder if we have to go down towards the 1720, 1730 area first, right? And I'm sure Ainsley will talk about technical levels later on, but at the moment, that chart doesn't look particularly constructive to me. It's still vaguely in some long-term monthly chart, vaguely bullish, but there's been so much technical damage done to the picture that it's just really hard, right? Exactly. Thanks, Paul. Why do you have such a big negative monthly pattern when you have such a positive monthly pattern the month before, right? That doesn't suggest to me that that's a market that wants to go up. So anyway, all of those things are sort of part and parcel of our decision-making process. So when I'm looking at the currencies, when I'm looking at gold at the moment, my continued question I've got to ask myself is, have people got out of their short US dollar, long everything else positions? And my conclusion is, I don't think they have. I think there's a bit of room to go yet. In that case, then the simple rule applies that you should continue to look at the technical picture and trade that and say, okay, right, in that case, let's continue to sell the currencies, buy the US dollar. We're expecting this thing to go lower. And I don't know where, I don't know how, and I don't know what extent it's going to go to, but for the time being, that seems to be the pattern. That will be made worse by the US rate starting to go higher again. I know they ticked higher on Friday, a few basis points. If that continues, I don't think that'll be good. If we see a further sell-off in the cryptos, I don't think that'll be good. So there's there's a lot of premium built into all these financial markets, right? And people are still of the belief that things are going to go up, right? So here's my question, and I'll leave you with this because this is a really important way to think about trading. Do you know anybody who is and I know one person, so not quite nobody, but I do know one person who is bearish on copper, right? And there's the key thing, right? So when you're thinking about trading, right, and you're looking around and you're listening to all those inputs that you see from all the different coaches and the different news sources and everything else, consider what everybody is saying, and you say, well, where is the sentiment? Is everybody one way? And if they are, it's a pretty good bet that at that point or soon after, the market's going to reverse. And I think we're hitting that camp still where people are not bullish the US dollar. They're still bearish the US dollar, and this is just a correction. Well, in that case, let's see how far that correction can go, because I suspect it has further to go.
Cheers, Julian. Thank you very much for that. Certainly another interesting week ahead. And we'll come back next Sunday and see whether it just sort of popped in a direction. What we're just waiting for here is a move, puts in some higher highs and some higher lows and gives us a little bit of trend. And look, there's been one thing about it, right? So, if you have a look at gold on this monthly chart or on this daily chart, there's been plenty of double bottom, higher low, higher low, higher. Great opportunities to get in that and make some money. We just got to wait for it to make a decision and create some patterns that we can trade again. And gosh, I'm hoping for those in the next couple of weeks. It has been pretty rough. As you say, Angel will bring a little bit of, a lot of knowledge on that as well. Cheers, Julian. Thank you very much for that input. Much appreciated.